Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's second video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the next 10 to 14 days for today's second video. So day 10 will take us to around the 9th of January, and we'll be able to extend out beyond that with the extended GFS and ECM ensembles. They run to around a couple of weeks. Going to have a look at CMSV2 for the next 4 weeks in this video, and for January as well. And we'll also have a look at the latest ECMWF extended forecast that I should have brought you. Normally on a Tuesday I'll bring you that, but of course we're in the Christmas period, so cut the videos back a little bit. But I do want to bring you up to date with that update as well from the ECMWF extended. So it's going to be quite a long video. You know, we're still catching up on the things that we've missed out on over the past few days, as it's been a little bit quieter over Christmas. Even Gav has to have a couple of days off over Christmas, but I'm still catching up with everything. So this one is going to be quite a long video, and I shall get on with it for you very shortly. I've got all of your pictures, don't worry, but I will be sharing some of your pictures over the next few days. Once today's video is out of the way, then we'll have a little bit more time within the videos to start sharing some of your pictures. So you'll start seeing some of the pictures appearing that have been sent to me. You know, you'll start seeing them appearing from tomorrow, probably from New Year's Eve's video. Then we like do a roundup video on New Year's Day. I'll share some of the pictures in that. And then GavsWeatherVids Sunday Roundup is coming back as well, probably on Sunday. So yeah, we're going to have some longer videos where we can start sharing some of your pictures very, very soon. We're going to be live streaming 6 o'clock tonight, so it's going to be the last live stream of the year. I think it's going to be quite a big-ish live stream, probably. So I'll see you live at 6 o'clock, and you know, we'll check in, see how we're doing. We'll have a look at the data, have a look at 12Z, have a look at the snow prospects. I suspect that will come up, and we'll just have a bit of fun for our final live stream of 2020. What an amazing year it's been, incredible year, and we'll be discussing that, of course, in the live stream as well. So that'll be from 6 o'clock, between 6 and 7 o'clock, and also earlier on today we released a verification for the autumn forecast as well. So if you want to know how we did with our autumn forecast, then check out the verification video that was released earlier. Right, let's start off with CET then. Central temperature is continuing to decline. Look at this, it's continuing its slow drop. We're now standing at 5.4. An anomaly of just 0.7 of a degree above average now. That's provisional to yesterday, 29th of December. That's going to come down further over the next couple of days. So today's going to be cold, tomorrow will be cold as well. So going to be very close to 5.0 by the end of this month, I think. There may be a downwards correction as well. I had quite a chilly first week to the month, quite a cold start to the month. When that happens, sometimes you get a bigger downwards correction as well. So could we actually come in the 4s? We may see this coming in like 4.8 or 4.9. Something like that. I wouldn't completely rule out the possibility that we might come in under 5 degrees for the CET. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see where that ends up, and we should know on New Year's Day. As we've been saying in the videos over the past few days, weather is cold and it's staying cold. There's really no sign of like milder weather within the next, you know, within the next week to 10 days. Anyway, these are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles. So the next couple of weeks, we're looking at Leicester today. This is a suggested location. If anybody's suggested locations over the past week or so, I have got quite behind with everything due to the holiday season. So if anybody has suggested locations for the for this part of the videos, can you please suggest them again, and then I will start compiling a list. I have not compiled a list, so either email me at GavsWeatherVids@gmail.com or ask through the comments again, and this time I will start compiling a list, because I think there's around 5, maybe 6 suggested locations that have been suggested to me over the past week or so, and I forgot, really, with the holiday season and everything else. So please ask again, and I'm going to compile a list this time, and we'll start going through all of those suggested locations in the new year. Right, looking at Leicester today. So the red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Leicester. We're starting colder than average right now. We're basically staying cold from beginning to end. I mean, right at the very, very end of the graph, we do see the ensembles lifting up there. That's getting into the middle of January. I mean, it's 2 weeks away. So that is a very, very long way away. Before then, like, we've got at least a week, probably 10 days, excuse me, of solid, consistent cold weather coming up. And actually, as we go through the first week into the second week of January, you may see the cold strengthening a little bit, actually, from where it is like in the next few days just there. It actually goes to a lower level of cold, or a stronger level of cold, as we go from the end of the first week and into the second week of January. Not all that far away from -10 at 850 HPA. In fact, some of these ensemble members are around sort of 9th, 10th, 11th of January, this bit here. Some of them are going down to or even below -10 at 850 HPA now. So we could well be seeing signs that as we go further on into January, actually this cold spell is going to intensify and maybe start getting a bit on the severe side. We could be setting up a severe cold spell into sometime in the first half of January, probably like in the second week of January. Don't rule out the possibility that that could happen. Precipitation wise, so a lot of dry weather. Of course, when it's dry, it will tend to be cold because the air holds cold air holds less moisture than warm or mild air. So it is relatively dry, but there are precipitation spikes in there, and some of those could well be wintry. This is an interesting period setting up just here between around the 9th and the 13th of January. More in way of precipitation spikes and still cold, with some of the ensemble members becoming very cold. That might be a snowy and very cold spell sometime between, let's say the 8th of January to the 13th of January, sometime around then. It could be, but we're seeing indications of quite a snowy and very cold spell of weather, perhaps followed by a slight tick up in the temperature for New Year, for the middle of January, I should say. But that is a really, really long way off in this sort of pattern. Anything over 5 days is a long way off in this sort of pattern, really. Temperature anomalies on the 30th of December, 7th of January. Look at that. Colder than average for the west of Europe, UK and Ireland is included in that. Milder than average over on the eastern side of Europe. What a flip around this is on the normal winter pattern, when it'll tend to be like the northwest and the west that is mild, and this eastern and southeastern part will tend to be cold, with all of the cold plunging down into Greece. Of course, it drives people in the UK absolutely mad when they see the snow piling up in Greece, and we're bathed in like 14-degree mild temperatures. But not this winter, not so far anyway. This winter it's mild in the east and the southeast of Europe, and it's cold in the north and in the west, in the northwest. Precipitation anomalies on the 30th of December, 7th of January, going to be drier than average. So because it's cold, it's going to be relatively dry, but there will be some precipitation, and some of that precipitation will be falling as snow. Excuse me once again. Got a bit of a tickle in my throat today. Later inflow map from earthnullschool.net shows northerlies across the west of Europe. So this is a very long fetch northerly wind. You can see that the northerly begins up here off the chart, really off the map, and plunges all the way down in towards Spain and North Africa. We've got northerly winds in coming through here. So that's the reason that, that's the reason that the west of Europe, not just UK and Ireland, but west of Europe generally, is mild. Conversely, though, you'll notice we're bringing up southerlies into the eastern and southeastern part of Europe. So southerly winds coming up from the Med, North Africa, up this eastern side of Europe, keeping the east and the southeast of Europe generally on the mild side, with the cold in the north and in the west. Right, so this is how UK Met is looking for Saturday. Winds are going to be in from the north for the first Saturday of 2021, so it's going to be a cold Saturday. There could be wintry showers, particularly in northern eastern parts of the country. Now, what happens from Sunday into Monday is that high pressure moves to Scandinavia and pulls the wind into the east. This is not going to be a particularly severely cold east. It will be a cold wind, of course. It's an easty wind in January, so it's going to be pretty grim. But we haven't got a deep cold pool sitting to our east, but we have got a proper easterly wind setting up there that could bring snow showers into southern and eastern parts of the country, and will feel really quite cold and raw. That's how we look as we get to the end of the UK Met run, which is 144 hours to Tuesday the 5th of January. Again, proper easterly, especially across England and Wales. GFS 6Z is looking like this, his latest GFS run. High pressure again out to our northwest on Saturday, winds in from a north-northeasterly direction. It's going to be a cold weekend with wintry showers in places. As we go through to the early part of next week, the high pressure sets up from Scandinavia to the north of Scotland, pulls in a proper easterly across England and Wales. Again, it's not a beast from the east, but it will be a cold and raw easterly. And then the high sort of starts to move through the middle of next week. The high is beginning to retrogress. There's that word again, retrogression of the high pressure from Scandinavia through the middle part of next week towards Greenland. You know how excited I always get about retrogression, because it tells us the atmosphere is behaving very differently to its normal default setup, which is west to east. So by the second half of next week, this is Thursday the 7th of January, high pressure is sort of around Iceland, south of Greenland, pulling in still cold winds from the north and from the northeast. A deep low pressure around Biscay is tightening the gradient there, putting in a strong easterly wind into the east, and it just stays cold up to day 10. So this is a prolonged cold spell that is setting up. I mean, we're prolonged cold spell that has set up, I should say, because remember this started on Christmas Eve, and like as far as we can see, really it's staying cold. So this is how the upper air temperatures are looking for the 8th of January. We're beginning to pull in some genuinely very cold air now into the north, with the minus 10 Celsius ice firm beginning to push down into Scotland. We keep it cold up to day 10 and beyond day 10. Again, upper air temperatures are looking cold. Very deep cold is setting in across Scandinavia and to our north. So we're very close to like genuinely really cold upper air temperatures. And what happens in the extended range with this GFS 6Z run is that we start to pull in some of that very cold air from the north. So this is the 11th of January when we begin to, I mean, we're still cold. So we're still pulling in winds from the north, but we begin to pull in some generally cold upper air temperatures, for minus 10 Celsius ice firm coming further and further southwards, and then we start to try and push low pressure into that cold air. So this looks very snowy. By the 12th of January, we're looking really cold, and with low pressure in over the country, there would be a lot of snow with that as well. Battle lines are becoming drawn. We've got the minus 10 Celsius ice firm to the north of Scotland. We've got the 0 Celsius ice firm in southwestern England. So potential for a lot of precipitation. And this carries on right through to the end of the GFS run. Again, we push this minus 10 Celsius ice firm further southwards there from the north on the 13th of January. But still with low pressure, trying to fight it out. So there's like another weather system here. This is as far as we go with the GFS 6Z. Another weather system here that, again, would be dumping a lot of snow across many parts of the country. It maybe gets a little bit milder in the extreme southwest, right at the very end of the GFS 6Z. But basically, as far as we can see, the GFS is keeping us cold, and particularly so in the north. And at some point, we could well start to pull in these very, very cold upper air temperatures and sort of freeze things up a little bit. I totally would not rule it out that we might get a freeze up at some point in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Based on the charts that we're seeing. This is a precipitation type forecast based on that GFS 6Z run from the Weather Outlook. So let's just run through these. So today's wintry showers are going to be primarily in the north and the west. Tomorrow we're going to bring this band of wintry showers, so rain, sleet and snow southwards, snow through Wales into the Midlands perhaps for New Year's Eve and into New Year's Day. Then things go a little bit quieter over the weekend. And then, of course, we start to pull wind into the east later in the weekend. So this is Sunday, beginning to see snow showers start to pile into the east. And then into the early part of next week, those showers are pushing across England and Wales. Potential for quite a bit of snow across southern and eastern parts of the country on those easterly winds through the early part of next week. It's not a beast from the east, this, but, you know, it's probably enough to bring in more in way of snow anyway, across England and Wales through the early part of next week. So that all looks very interesting. And then, of course, we start to bring down those very cold northerly winds and generate low pressure. So as we go through the second week of January, it's up to certainly the 10th of January. So going through the second week of January, we're beginning to see things getting even colder now and even snowier as well. That's the 13th of January with a big dump of snow across many parts of the country. It does suggest rain down along the south coast, but a big dump of snow across many parts of the country. And the GFS 6Z just keeps things very cold, and so looking another big snow event there around the 14th of January. Just very cold and snowy, really, with the GFS 6Z through the second week of January, when we bring in even colder upper air temperatures, and the battle lines start getting drawn with low pressure out in the Atlantic as well. Don't take the areas of snow too literally. That's over like a week to 10 days away, so don't take those areas of snow too literally. But it is the suggestion, as I have said, that as we go further on through January, we could see things getting colder and snowier. And do not rule out the chance of that we might freeze up at some point through the early part of January with this level of northern blocking. GEM is looking like this. So again, it's all sort of much of a muchness. Really, maybe not quite as cold and wintry with the GEM, but the northern blocking is still there, and that one looks pretty cold and quite wintry at times as well. And then the ECM looks like this, so cold northerly winds on the 2nd of January, bringing in wintry showers. Then the high pressure goes to Scandinavia. We turn the wind into the east through the early part of next week, so cold easterly winds, particularly across England and Wales, mostly dry and about ridge for Scotland. And then the high pressure pushes northwards, and we've still got some high pressure over Scandinavia as well. With low pressure sort of developing to our south and east. That tightens the easterly gradient again as we head towards day 10, and we start to pull in some really generally cold upper air temperatures by day 10, with the minus 10 Celsius ice front beginning to come in from the east. That's a little bit of a beastly easterly beginning to set up there by around day 10. And we have quite a deep cold pull to the north as well, so if the wind goes northerly, we'll pull down these cold upper air temperatures from the north, but we have also got cold upper air temperatures sitting to our east by day 10 as well. So the uppers are getting colder. I know a lot of you have been wondering about the upper air temperatures and why aren't they as cold as you would probably expect them to be given the synoptics, but by around day 10 we could well be starting to see cold, really genuinely cold upper air temperatures starting to get involved in this as well. This is the precipitation type forecast based on that ECM run from TibetShow.com. Lots of snow. This is for tomorrow. Lots of snow across Scotland. Wintry showers around these western coasts as well. Going through New Year's Eve to New Year's Day, some wintry showers coming southwards across England and Wales. Then the wind will go into the east. Now, the ECM is bringing in quite a bit of rain, not really snow, bringing in rain from the east through the early part of next week. The GFS suggests that's a lot more wintry than the ECM. So it could either be like a wintry mix coming in from the east, or there could be more snow around than that suggests through the early part of next week. By day 10, of course, then we're starting to bring in those very cold upper air temperatures, and so any precipitation that falls when we've got the minus 10 Celsius ice flow involved will be exclusively falling as snow, really. And you can see quite a bit of snow beginning to gather to our east. There's a lot of snow through Denmark, for example, and into the North Sea, and on those east winds, that snow is only going in one direction with minus 10 Celsius ice firm, and it's going in that direction. So this is the these reductions are on the table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10, which gets us to the 9th of January. Have 23 members of the ECM ensembles with high pressure at day 10. to our north and west. Low pressure is to our south. Winds are in from an easterly direction, cold and wintry at day 10 with those. 17 with high pressure again. North Atlantic going up towards Greenland and tying in with northern blocking. Low pressure to our south and east. Winds in from the east, looking cold and wintry there as well. And 11, probably this option is more in line with the GFS, with the mid-Atlantic ridge extending up towards the northern blocking and low pressure over the country. This is a little bit more northerly. So these two options here are sort of easterly options. They're bringing easterly winds. This one is more northerly. But all options are cold. All options are cold at day 10. In 2 weeks' time, this is the option that we've got. And it still looks pretty cold even now, really. This is for the 14th of January. High pressure again blocking in the northern latitudes. Low pressure is underneath it. Jet streams push southwards. I mean, it may be that we start to get a little bit of less cold air in from the Atlantic. But to be honest, that still looks blocked and still looks potentially cold, really, even in 2 weeks' time. CFSV2 looks like this. These are 500 millibar heights breakdown to week periods. The first week period takes us from the 29th of December to the 4th of January. The coming week we have low pressure over to the south country, high pressure blocking to the north. Jet stream is pushed southwards. Winds are in from a cold northerly or easterly direction, looking cold and wintry. Start us off in week 1. Week 2 is going to be the 5th to the 11th of January. Again, high pressure blocking to the north, low pressure underneath it. Jet stream is pushed southwards as well. That could be another cold and wintry week just there. Week 3 is going to be the 12th to the 18th of January. Still a lot of northern blocking, but possibly just going a little bit less cold as winds begin to push up from more of a westerly direction. That might involve quite a lot of snow, though, of course, initially. And then week 4 is going to be the 19th to 25th of January. Low pressure over to the west of the country. That probably suggests milder southwesterly winds, really. CFS probably starts turning us milder around the middle of January and into the second half of the month. CFSV2 overall, though, for January, this latest 700 millibar height anomaly from a CFSV2 for January, looking very blocked with low pressure within, high pressure I should say, within the north latitudes. Low pressure is underneath it. I mean, you couldn't really look at that and predict anything other than a cold January, although the model as ever is going for a milder than average temperature anomaly. But I mean, given that level of northern blocking that it's going for there, part right over Greenland, the low pressure underneath it, it looks pretty mouth-watering, I have to say. That looks pretty mouth-watering for anybody who wants a cold January. It's been a long time since we had a cold January, but if we get that level of northern blocking, then there can't be any other outcome other than a colder than average January, really. I just want to show you ECMWF extended, so we'll wrap through these very, very quickly. I would normally have done a video on its own with this on a Tuesday, but because it's Christmas, I didn't do one yesterday. But we'll just show you this very quickly. So week 1 mean sail pressure, London looks cold, low pressure, trough low pressure across much of northwest Europe, blocking in the northern latitudes. That's going to be cold, of course. Week 2, which is going to be the 14th of January, that one also looks cold, blocking again within the northern latitudes. Low pressure to the south, winds will be in from an easterly direction there. Week 3 is the 11th to the 18th of January. That one also looks cold, again blocking up towards Greenland. Low pressure perhaps coming a little bit further north, but that could be very snowy, of course, as the milder and colder air fights against one another. Week 4, 18th, 25th of January. I mean, it's trying to move the jet stream and the areas of low pressure back northwards, but to be honest, that could still be quite cold, with still a suggestion of higher pressure up towards Greenland. Week 5 looks like that. Again, probably quite cold. It's into February now, 20th of January to 1st of February. Lower pressure is through here, higher pressure still up there. Looks like the jet stream going south, which looks like probably still pulling in sort of winds from a northerly easterly direction. And then week 6, which is the 1st to the 8th of January, still looking cold, really. Still low pressure through here, still high pressure up there. And so on. I have got more data to show you. So that's the week 1, 500 millibar height anomaly. That's week 2, 500 millibar height anomaly. All looking very, very blocked. This from the North Pole down, of course, week 3. Again, quite a lot of blocking week 4. Quite a lot of blocking still suggests quite cold conditions, probably week 5, which is like last week of January. Still, northern blocking continues. Week 6, I mean, it just doesn't end really, even into February. That's the first week of February, 1st to the 8th of February, and it still suggests potentially a lot of northern blocking and like a negative AO-NAO combination. And pretty cold weather. Temperature anomalies. Week 1 looks cold. Week 2 looks cold. Week 3 looks cold. Week 4, perhaps not quite as cold for week 4. Week 5, again, probably average to cold. Further out we go, the more the loose the signal. Week 6, again, perhaps not quite as cold, for the south anyway, still cold up in the north. But to be honest, it's a cold outlook, this. And an extended and prolonged cold weather is set to last well into January. And, you know, it could still be going even at the end of January into February based on that ECM run. So yeah, I mean, if you don't like cold weather, it's not a particularly good outcome because it does look as though the cold is here, it's in, it's not going anywhere fast. We said in our winter forecast, New Year could see the cold become locked in. We could lock into a strong northern blocking pattern. And that appears to be what is happening here. And with this level of northern blocking that we're seeing, as I've been saying through this video, we may well find that the cold intensifies as we go through January, and we could at some point be in for quite a freeze and quite a snowy spell. That's it. I have to call it as I see it. So that's it. If you enjoyed this video, please can you click like. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We're on the grind to 10k subs. Tell your friends about GavsWeatherVids. Get them to subscribe as well. And drop a comment and let us know what you think about this and all of our videos. We're going to be live streaming between 6 and 7 o'clock this evening. So there's a lot to talk about after this video. A lot to talk about. Tonight at 6 o'clock in our live stream, last live stream of the year. So I'll see you there. Bye for now.